I think the important thing about turnaround is it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing in terms of having fewer crimes, fewer victims in society, but it's also very much the right thing to do in terms of supporting the offenders and to helping them to develop. It's about making the most of all of the resources which are sometimes quite scarce in public services and getting them better coordinated and focused against those offenders who are committing the majority of crime.
If you look at that bridge behind me, you know, for people with bad lives, and it has happened, that's an escape, you know. Someone jumped off that because they didn't know any other way, they didn't get any help. You know, they just got left with their addiction and left to their own devices, really. Suppose I didn't really know the person, but I suppose he was misunderstood and he must have asked for help.
Brought up in a kind of rough area, you know what I mean, of Glasgow, and things were okay, you know what I mean, apart from my mum and dad, you know what I mean. My dad was always drinking, you know what I mean. He was involved robbing banks. He was a bit of a gangster and that back in the day. As I say, he got murdered when I was 11, so I started rebelling, threw the glue, got put into an approved school, well, an assessment centre at the time they called it.
I was labelled with personality disorder, behavioural problems and bipolar at the age of 12. Basically, it wasn't malicious. I didn't want to do. I wanted help, and that was the way I saw I needed help, and that was the only way I could think of getting help was doing that.
The three strands of policing, we could say prevent and deter, catch and convict, and resettle and rehabilitate. The IOM, the focus for the IOM is on the resettle, rehabilitate, but with a serious backstop being catch and convict. So we try and get people into diversionary activities. We try and unravel some of the chaotic strands within their life to try and break them out of that cycle of offending. However, it's important for us to use the carrot and stick approach so that if they do not respond to the diversionary opportunities, they need to know the consequences that the criminal justice system will present for them.
There's thousands of ways to escape, using drugs or, you know, self-harming or anything, like, you know, there's more ways of dealing with them problems, but they're locked away because of money, really.
You responded really positively to that dip, didn't you? And actually bounced back really strongly. So
basically, these last 6 months it's been hard, but it's been good. Do you know what I mean? And also with yourself, do you know what I mean? With the many issues that I have through drink, drugs, and that, and helping me get through all that. Do you know what I mean? Work through things like that. And
the early intervention is aimed at saving us all money. The same really idea as the IOM, that the sooner you get in there with people, the greater impact you can make sooner to actually prevent sort of problems actually becoming aggravated.
Many of these individuals fall outside of the normal mainstream mental health services. Very often they're overrepresented in homelessness environments. The teams that have been working with them spend a lot of time and effort trying to get mental health services engaged and other social care agencies engaged. It's very problematic.
When we try to get them tied in with mental health services, we often get this what I call dual diagnosis sort of issue, where the mental health services say, oh no, it's due to their substance misuse. We won't look at them until they're clean, until they're actually sorted out, prescribed and all the rest of it. And many of them don't get to that stage, so they're never able to access treatment. Is that a reality? Is there any way around it really at all?
Well, I think that is the reality and working practice. There's been a reluctance, I think, on the part of the mental health services to engage someone when they feel that there is a primary difficulty with drugs or alcohol, and that would interfere with the engagement and treatment process for mental health. But the reality is that you need the two models coexisting so that they can inform each other, and you're going to get a holistic package of care.
We're trying to actually develop a whole inventory of activities for our offenders.
But having a purposeful and meaningful life is kind of like a linchpin for well-being, and those types of daily activities are really the foundation of good emotional well-being. So we do need to have therapeutic interventions alongside supervisory frameworks within probation, and we need to be, you know, we need to be open, we need to be validating, we need to be non-judgmental, whilst at the same time making sure that there are firm and appropriate boundaries for individuals.
Want to do this last one to get this? Yeah. Last time I was pretending myself on, you know. I was, yeah, I'll be alright. Give me some methadone and I'll be alright now, I'll do alright. But really, I wasn't even ready for it, you know. My frame of mind wasn't there. I was just, give me some methadone and I'll be alright, you know. But now, it's life or death, to be honest. You know, if I carry on living like this, you know, I'm not going to last. Something that you can see that you're doing it. You know, you can see something in front of you, it's taking shape. You know, and you're building it up. You know, I've got faith in them. You know, and I do want to change my life. You know, I'm not a bad man. You know, I'm not a bad person. You know.
I think an important opportunity with turnaround is that we are also looking to work with offenders right the way through any sort of custodial or community sentence, so that particularly when they get committed to a short sentence, that we're able to follow them into the prisons that they've been sent to and continue the work with them about offering them opportunities for rehabilitation upon their release. Now that will involve not just work with statutory partners, but also other partners from the voluntary sector and from the business sector as well. I think it's really important that the whole system is seen to be joined up. And by that I mean that in terms of the criminal justice system, and part of that needs to be early diversion, part of that will need to be a good working relationship with magistrates to make sure that the right sentence is applied to the right offender. And part of that is having a good understanding about the offender as an individual and where they're at any particular point in time and how receptive they might be to finding an alternative way of living within the community.
Like with Davina, like talking to Davina, do you know what I mean? Like, when obviously she picked me up from prison, so maybe that's how I've got a better relationship with her, but she just seems to have like a kind of caring side as well, do you know what I mean? Like the majority of police officers I've met haven't really been that way. Maybe if they were a bit more open and honest, or like viewed people that as in from a human nature rather than from like an authoritative point of view, do you know what I mean? Like as in just there to arrest people, do you know what I mean? Maybe if they take the time like, for to maybe get a bit of background on the people, get a bit of background on the person, for to see that what's maybe caused it or what's maybe made them the way that they are, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
What are we labelled as when when you pass us in the street? What have you got?
Apart from Barry?
Well, apart from that, yeah.
Probably a repeat offender. So you deal with you a lot of the time on a regular basis.
I don't want to be like angry against you like all my life and that, but it's gonna take two to tango. Really, it's gonna take use to back off and let me carry on with my life. Well,
that's a great response, that you want to change the way you are, and I agree with you that it takes two, and it's not going to be very productive from a police point of view that if we keep on treating you negatively, you're not going to improve and get an opportunity to improve, are you? And I haven't met anyone just yet that has turned their life completely around and sort of displayed a positive image of themselves. You could be that project.
Yeah,
you could be that person.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to do that?
I am doing it.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it for anybody else. I'm doing it for myself.
Yeah, don't do it for me. Do it for yourself, of course. Yeah, I'm not saying do it for me.
I'm
But when I see you on a regular basis, just tip the hat, say hello, and on I go.
Yeah.
You'll be happy with that?
I'll be happy with that. Yeah, I would. I'm not a rude person. It depends how you treat me.
I am in full-time employment, which 10 years ago I wouldn't have thought, or even 4 years ago I wouldn't have thought I would be holding down the job. I've lost 10.5 stone in weight. I've got my confidence back. I'm a manager of a B&B, which I I run. Basically, I run it for my boss. I've learnt to plan life. I've learnt to put things in places that every 6 months I have a holiday because I need something to look forward to. Where in the days that I was offending, I wouldn't have had anything. I was in money troubles. I had no holidays planned and didn't have a life to look forward to.
So where are you going in January?
I'm going to South Africa. I'm going horse riding in South Africa.
Fantastic.
On my own.
That's brilliant. And
that is if they let me in the country. Like if I didn't have your help, and this is before the time this is all being changed,
yeah,
I wouldn't be here today. I would be either serving a longer prison sentence or I would be dead.